What up, guys? Kevin here. So, very disappointingly, rolled credits on Final Fantasy II. I'll talk about why it's really disappointing. I am really bummed out in a bad way, not in a good way, not in a, oh, I want more. Um, but this is my review of Final Fantasy II Pixel Remaster. Played it on PS5. Follow up to Final Fantasy I that came out in 1987. This one came out, I think, in 1988. And I got to say up front, it is crazy how similar the first few Dragon Quest games and now the first couple Final Fantasy games are. Like, did they work on those games together? I know Enix didn't get bought by Squaresoft till what, late 90s, early 2000s? But my God, these games are just so similar. Even like the setup, the world, starting in a castle, and what's up with that? Is there a story behind that? I need to look into that because these games are way, way too similar. Like more than just like, hey, let me copy your homework and change it a little bit. They didn't really change anything. However, let's stick with Final Fantasy II, the worst one. So bad that I even looked at rankings of Final Fantasy games. 2 is always at the bottom. It's always at the bottom, the worst one. So going in, I knew that. Going in, I knew the leveling system was a little bit jank. And yeah, it was. It was. But only in the beginning. Had to, put the training wheels on for a little bit. And then I took them off and I got really comfortable with Final Fantasy II. And ultimately, I like the game more than Final Fantasy 1. What? Final Fantasy 2 is, first off, it's the Pixel Remaster. All these games are going to look the same. So it's not like every game is going to look so good and play so good, and then 2 is just going to look so different and play so different. No, it looks the same as Final Fantasy 1. I can only speak for. Plays about the same. I mean, it's the same random encounters. The same, you're going over here, then you're going over there, then you're going over there, then you're going over here. But what I really appreciate about Final Fantasy, just in general, why it's my favorite series, is it is different from game to game. Even back when this game came out in '88, first one in '87, like in less than a year, they changed up things quite enough to where it really separated itself from the first game. First off, we got to talk about the leveling system. There really isn't any. You really just increase your stats, your weapon stats, your magic stats, your health, and so on. Agility, evasion, all that stuff. I think people really do not like the game because of that. And at first, I got to say, it was very just cumbersome, a very like, okay, who's going to equip what and what am I going to use here? But after about like 45 minutes, I settled in and I really, really enjoyed the leveling system. I think I've used this system before in other games, but I really enjoyed it because it made me try out different equipment, different spells, different everything so I can become very well balanced. And maybe it's a negative because you can break the game pretty easily. At the end of the game, I was just using haste. I was hasting everybody. I was berserking everybody on my team. And then I just had the other two just use regular attacks with the Masamune and the Excalibur. Oh, just one shot in everybody. It's fun though. It's fun. But I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. At the end of the game, I got to where I would have gotten to if it had a normal leveling system. That's what you need to know. At the end of the game, you're still arriving at the same place, stat-wise and everything. But yeah, loved it because of that. And that's why I love Final Fantasy. It's just different from game to game. And as the games go on, they get really different from each other. It felt way more cinematic. I was like, this game is way more cinematic. People die, a lot of deaths. R.I.P. Sid. Yeah. Like you really see the roots here of what a Final Fantasy game is. And I think some people will probably force themselves to play it. Like, I like Final Fantasy, I gotta play it too. Well, I didn't feel that way. I was just like, okay, I get to play it too now. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Like so much so I don't understand the hate. To me, it's like Tales of Zestiria that I played last year, exactly a year ago. I'm like, I don't understand why this game receives so much hate. The game's actually great. Final Fantasy 2 is actually great, in my opinion. Maybe it's the worst in terms of being the mainline Final Fantasy game because they're all great. I mean, I love 13. I love 12. I think 8 is another one that people don't like. I can't wait to get to that. But I played a little bit of 8 and I enjoyed what I played of it. So 15 I love. Yeah, I mean, this is the bottom. Final Fantasy sent pretty good. Pretty good. Now, let's get to the negatives. The encounter rate is insane. You can't go more than a few feet without encountering enemies. It's ridiculous. However, Pixel Remaster, you can just turn encounters off. So after going 10 feet and fighting every enemy, except for one, I'll get to that in a minute, um, you just turn encounters off and then just go to the boss, go around, collect your chest and everything, and then you can turn encounters back on. So definitely a negative. I can definitely see people hating the game because of that. The encounter rate is way too high in Final Fantasy 2. Way too high. Way too high. But it just doesn't matter. You can turn encounters off. But um, other than that, I thought the game was pretty great. Pretty great. Now, let me score it. I think Final Fantasy 1, I'll give it 10 out of 10. This game, I'm going to give it the same. I'm going to give it the same. And I'm trying really hard to not let what happened to me at the end of the game, and I'll explain what happened to me at the end of the game in a minute here, dilute the score. But yeah, this is another 10 out of 10. Final Fantasy, look, it's like Tears of the Kingdom to me. As long as it's good, it's getting a 10. But no, it really does deserve it, you know? And it's something I could put myself like, holy shit, this came out in 88, but it's 2023. I play games that were great back in the day. Like, what was it, GoldenEye? I played like a level and a half of GoldenEye. I'm like, yeah, I could see why I loved it back then, but it's 2023. I don't want to play this anymore. And that game is short too. This game is short. It took me 15 hours. I'll explain why it took 15 hours instead of like 12. Um, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's more than just, oh, I have to play. It's a mainline Final Fantasy. I have to play. Let me just get it over with. If you have that mentality, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. And if you're listening to me going, oh crap, I can't wait to play it now, I think you'll still love it as well too. Just be very patient with the system up front, with the way you increase your stats and everything. Don't let it bother you. Don't let it be burdensome. Y'all gonna get to the same destination no matter what. But yeah, it's a great game. All right, let's talk about the biggest negative of this game. That's kind of separate. Well, let's talk about the meta. Getting the platinum. I did not get the platinum. I am, well, I guess two trophies short: the platinum trophy and the bestiary. You gotta encounter it and beat every enemy in the game. And I ain't gonna lie, this game felt like a breeze. I got to the very end, and I'm like, yeah, there was only like a few enemies that maybe took 5 minutes tops to grind out. But then I came across one. Well, I didn't come across one. That is the Iron Giant. I think it's this game's version of the Iron Golem. I think that was what it was last game, which was pretty rare. But I found it right away in Final Fantasy 1. Didn't have to worry about it. War Mech took me forever. Iron Giant for me is this game's war mech, but I found the war mech. I didn't find the Iron Giant. So what happened? The last 2.5 hours of this game, when I'm right there at the boss, I think I need to go in the next room, get 2 chests, and then go to the boss and beat it. Would have took no more than 5 minutes. So I'm like 5 minutes away from beating the game. And I'm watching Primal Liquid. He gets it right away. Iron Giant, right away. And he was surprised. He's like, oh, wow, yeah, I know that's a rare find. So he was excited, and I was excited. I'm like, oh, sweet, I'm going to find one quick, too. I didn't find one. I spent 2.5 hours going all around that 7th floor of Pandemonium. Never appeared. And after a couple hours, I'm like, screw it. Let me just shut down the game. I saved it, shut down the game, went back in to reset the RNG, gave it another like 69 tries. Nice. Well, not nice because it never showed up. Like literally, I sat there with a counter app on my phone and just counted to 69. I'm like, you know what? I'm 69 times. 69 more fights. If it doesn't show up, I'm just beating the game. And that's what happened. And it made me hate the game. It made me hate the game so much. And when I was getting War Mech last week, it took a couple hours, but I at least got it. I hated the game there. And it's just all because of PlayStation. Oh, it's PlayStation. I need to get the platinum. I love getting the platinum in Final Fantasy games, but that's not enjoyable for me. That was not fun. I was just thinking, man, I could have the game be and go back to playing Trails of Azure. So, yeah, so I think going on, like, it's an eyesore. It's an eyesore. Because now I got, like, all the trophies but one. Well, 2 with the platinum. But, I mean, I already beat it. I deleted the game. It's still getting a 10 out of 10. But this is just a trophy problem. I mean, it's an Iron Giant problem, but those are 2.5 hours that were not fun. They were not fun. It got to a point where, like, if I did get the Iron Giant, I would just be, like, I guess relieved. Still upset that I wasted so much time, but I don't know. I think I'm going to call it quits on getting platinum trophies. I don't care anymore. I just wasted too much time I could have been spending playing some other games. My time's limited. And I just wasted a good chunk of my day off fighting the corals, those dog-like enemies. I fought so many of those. Like towards the end of those 2.5 hours, not only was I not getting the Iron Giant, I was getting like 6 enemies per battle. So it took long. And I was getting a lot of ambushes, so I had to wait for them to go their turn. Then I go my turn, and then usually they got another turn because there were so many of them that I just said, fuck it. I don't care anymore. I turned off encounters, got the last 2 chests, got that trophy, and then beat the boss, beat the game. But I loved it. I love the game. And I just want to make that separate. But thank you, Final Fantasy 2. I am done getting platinum trophies. Like, I don't even want to play on PlayStation anymore. I don't want to play on PlayStation anymore and be tempted to get the platinum in any game going forward. I know Final Fantasy 16 is going to come out. I'm like, oh my God, I got to get the platinum in that. Nope. I'll do all the side content. If there's some rare enemy or something that's going to take me hours to do, nah, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. All right. Not to end it on a sour note. Again, I love Final Fantasy 2. I think people are hating on it just to hate on it. I really do think so. But anyways, I got to go. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you later. Later.